Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of July 29th, 2015. I'm Joe Fidua.
And I am Chris Chavez.
And I'm Ashley King.
Chris Chavez, the standing man.
Chavez got that fancy standing desk. Like, all over the place.
That's pretty awesome.
Great. So amazing.
That's cool. So we have a lot to talk about this week. Some pretty big events happened, and we'll start with the one that Mr. Chavez, the standing man, was at earlier this week. Why don't you talk about that, Chris?
The OnePlus 2. So I guess OnePlus had this like satellite event thing in San Francisco where they gave select members of the press. It's actually very small. There wasn't too many people there. I think there was maybe like maybe less than 20 people. I'd say maybe like 15 people there max.
You were an elite company.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple smaller blogs too, but I think it's just it's OnePlus, so they're small and they just whatever. But I mean the big ones are there. The Verge was there and some of the other guys, but they allowed us to get hands-on with the OnePlus 2, and it was actually really early in the day, so we couldn't really talk about it until they actually announced it at like 7 p.m. Pacific time. I think that was like 10 p.m. East Coast or something. So late.
Yeah, I couldn't understand why they waited so late to do that.
Really bad.
They
really
hate East Coast bloggers or something.
Yeah, I mean, and then they're trying to make a big push. I mean, this is all like Europe, and I mean, what time would that even be in Europe? That's probably like 4 in the morning Europe time or something. But it just seemed a silly time to announce a phone. But yeah, it's official. The phone's official. I got to play with it. It was really, really cool. I kind of liked it. Kind of liked it a lot. I don't know.
I think your exact words were, "I'm going to buy the bleep out of it."
Yeah. Oh man. It was cool. It was very, very cool. I mean, after a while, I started thinking about it, and then now the Moto X came out, and it just kind of, I don't know. I think I was more impressed by the price because they announced it's going to be $330 for the 16 gigabyte, and then $390 for the 64 gigabyte, and that's under $400. That's cheaper than the Nexus 5 was when it first came out. I mean, that's freaking crazy. That's crazy. Nobody expected that price. We were talking about it last week and the weeks before that. We thought it was going to be like $450 or something ridiculous, but yeah, under $400 for 64 gigabytes, like the top model. That's just freaking nuts. It's insane.
I'm happy to see that the top model is a 64 gigabyte instead of a 32.
Yeah, honestly, for that price, they could have really gotten away with even just 32, 16 and a 32, and I think people would have still eaten it up. They still would have been kind of surprised by the price. Oh man, defied our expectations. But yeah, not bad at all. 64 gigabytes, then you get like a Snapdragon 810. I will say that it did it did get kind of warm while I was playing with it, and I was like, I mentioned that they had all the bloggers lined up at this table, and we're all trying to grab pictures and write up stuff and do all those things. And I casually mentioned, I'm like, whoa, my phone's getting a little warm there, and then everyone just started cracking up because it's like we know what that Snapdragon 810 does, but
they wrote on all their things, version 2.1.
But it's version 2.1, and you know who was there was Carl Pei, the founder or one of the co-founders. So it's not the guy that's usually in all the photos sitting there all regal and they said we couldn't get it under 400. They were wrong. It's that guy wasn't there, but the other guy was there, and his English was pretty good and stuff. And then I was listening to him talk to other people and stuff like that. But he was very upset because right before we even got there, early that morning, someone had leaked the phone in all of its glory. It's got really weird camera positioning. It sits almost in the middle of the phone, which is really odd. A lot of people don't like that, and it looks really bad in pictures, or just kind of awkward and just a little odd and weird. But I mean, it's not a make or break. I don't know.
I actually did not even notice that in any of the pictures.
Really, everyone was going off about that, and he was so mad because he was like, "Well, what?" He was asking people straight up, what what did you think about the leaks? I don't think it showed us in a very good light. You know, you have to really hold the phone, and we're like, yeah, you gotta do that and stuff. But it was cool. I like the phone a lot. 1080p screen, but there are some definite shortcomings. So yeah, you got a 1080p display. It's LCD, and it's not very vibrant or it looks like a Nexus 5. So if you like the screen on the Nexus 5, if you thought that looked good, you're gonna like the OnePlus 2's display. I think it's like 5.5 inches now, so pretty big. Kind of sits in between the Nexus 6 in size and the what's that other big phone? Nexus 6 and maybe like a Galaxy S6 as far as size. So it's like in between. Yeah, it's good. I mean, 4 gigabytes of RAM. You got a big battery in there.
Talk about what it doesn't have.
Yeah, so the shortcomings, you get a 1080p display, and it doesn't, for some odd reason, it doesn't have NFC.
Okay. Why does it have a fingerprint scanner and no NFC?
Yeah,
Why?
everyone was saying
you
why?
think you can use it to pay for stuff, but then realize you can't.
I mean, the fingerprint scanner's there for like locking your phone and doing all that stuff, but I mean
if you're gonna
it's
have
just
a
there so they
fingerprint
can say it.
scanner, why not include NFC so you can actually use that?
it's a really weird oversight. It almost feels like they just forgot it. Like, oh shoot, we forgot NFC. It's a small company, and you really feel like it's just 5 guys, and they're just like, oh shoot.
They're in a room literally with like pen and paper writing, all right, what should our phone have?
Yeah,
And someone just forgot to write down NFC.
And you just kind of think of it as a given. That was the funny part. It was because I didn't even mention it in my hands-on because you don't usually look at that stuff. There's always like the connectivity features, and it shows like Bluetooth. You just assume it has Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And it's like Wi-Fi.
Well, Android flagships for so
NFC.
long have just included NFC. So
I honestly cannot, and I would love to go back and try to maybe find the last phone that didn't have NFC, even if it was just like some crap. I mean, like usually every phone out right now.
Do those? I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but do the Moto G phones have NFC?
Yeah, they
So
got
even
it.
they have NFC.
Hey, everyone's got it, man. It's just a thing. It's so easy to put into your phone. It's just honestly, it seems just like an oversight. They just didn't even think about it. At first I thought it was like a cost-cutting measure to kind of keep that price. I mean, the price is rock bottom. It's super low, and then there are all these other high-end specs and great things about the phone, but it's just the fact that it's missing something that's just so.
NFC. I doubt it would even make it that much more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's not like they're mass producing these on this huge scale that Samsung would be. So like cutting 3 cents here and there would work out to millions in the long run. Like this is just, I mean, they're very very small, but I just don't get it. Honestly,
Never settle.
I'm not, and every single year it comes back to bite them in the ass. This whole never settle motto. I mean, because something happens where you're like, crap, I do have to settle. Like,
yeah, I think you said on
idea
Twitter something about the Jesus phone doesn't exist, and it's like no company should ever tell you not to settle because every phone has one thing that you're settling.
You're gonna settle on something. And it was just funny because there was I mean the co-founder guy was there, and there was people like Miriam from Engadget. She was there. Well, she was with Engadget. I think now she
was there for Pocket Now.
Yeah, she works for Pocket Now now. So she was kind of like giving the guys like these like the hard balls. She was like throwing some hard balls at them, and she was like, "This is ridiculous. You guys don't know," because the engineer dude was there. He's like this French guy, and he was supposed to know all the technical specs behind the phone. And she was like asking him about the I guess the camera, and if they knew like how many axes it has, because there's OIS, and then there's like good OIS, there's bad OIS, and apparently the G4 has really really good OIS and with multiple axes and stuff. And the guy was like, I don't know, and they're just like, okay. And I mean, these guys just didn't. I feel like they just didn't know what the heck they were doing. It was just so. The event was kind of odd. Really nice venue, I will say that. Really nice venue, but the event itself was just really odd. And I mean, Carl Pei didn't do anything. He just seemed kind of mad the whole time. I couldn't get over those
Maybe
leaks.
he was mad they forgot NFC.
Yeah, maybe he kind of was hoping
He
nobody
found out that morning and was like, "Oh crap!"
nobody would know about the NFC fumble.
What is that other guy's name though that shows up in the videos and stuff? Because did you see that video where he revealed the price?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it.
Yeah, you probably didn't because you were at the event. It was really weird. It was at the very end of the live stream, and then like it cuts to him, and it's like you're viewing him from like the perspective of a computer screen, and he's like looking at you, and it's like a dark room, and there's like light shining in his eyes. Like, all right, now that everyone's gone, let's show the price. It was so weird. I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, that guy is pretty funny. I don't know. I don't know if he's funny or they just put him in like awkward situations or what.
I remember there was I guess the whole live stream, I think it was from this venue that we were at, which is basically this rented. They just rented some nice place. They called it one of their partners' offices because I was like, "What is this building? Where are we?" It was like really odd, and I guess they just filmed it upstairs. They were just upstairs in someone else's office, pretending like this is like our OnePlus. This is where we do all the. This is where we put it all together, folks. But it's just people just playing like solitaire on the computer and stuff because they're just like, dude, we don't really work for OnePlus. But I mean, they never explicitly said that like in the video, like this is our headquarters. But it really implies that. It's just it was really funny, really weird, really weird.
Yeah. All right. So that's the OnePlus 2.
Yeah.
I think you can talk about the invite thingy and when it's going to be available and all that quick.
They said it's going to be available in the U.S., Europe, and India on August 11th. They're still going to do an invite process and stuff, but they said it's going to be a lot easier this time around. And if you previously bought a OnePlus, you kind of get like this priority thing, and they have a reservation list too going as well. So it's like a waiting list to possibly get an invite.
Last time I checked, it was over 300,000 people on it too.
Yeah, there's people on there. I mean, that's not even like a good. You can't say like every single one of those people are going to buy the phone because they're not, and some people probably just end up.
They're not. All those people aren't even going to get a chance to buy the phone.
Yeah, like, that's true. That's true. It's really, really odd. I mean, to me, it just seems like this business model is like kind of a weird way to do it, and I think they do it just to kind of drive up hype for it and make you feel like you need to like impulse buy. I got an invite. Oh my gosh, I need to buy this phone right now, and you just go out and you buy it. Versus like a pre-order system where you can kind of think about it. I don't know. Maybe I should drop 400, and it's just you don't feel the urgency, I guess. But I'm on the reservation list. I think I'm a number 90,000 or something ridiculous. But yeah, so. August 11th is when it officially comes out and invites start going out.
Yeah. All right. So that's OnePlus. Let's talk about. Oh God, I just found that video. It's Pete Lau, by the way, is the name of that guy.
Pete Lau and Carl Pei. That's the two.
I just posted the link. It's like 30 seconds if you want to watch it quick. You don't even need the audio on. It's just weird.
You're literally in a dark room.
Yeah. Okay, so that was OnePlus on Monday, and then Tuesday morning, bright and early, was Motorola's event, and they showed off 3 new devices: the Moto X Style, aka Moto X Pure, the Moto X Play, and the new Moto G. The Moto X Style is, I mean, I don't know why they changed the name, but it's just basically the follow-up to the Moto X 2014. There's a Style Edition and a Pure Edition, and I'm a little confused about the difference between those. It seems like at first they said the Pure was just going to be like the unlocked version, but now I'm hearing that the Pure Edition is the only one coming to the U.S.
It seems strange.
It's just they just renamed it basically. So in the U.S. it's just going to be known as the Pure Edition, and it is unlocked and stuff. So like they weren't even clear during their presentation. It wasn't until like after the fact that people were like, what are you guys talking about, man? Like, when does the Style come? They're like, well, it's not going to be the style in the U.S. It's going to be the pure edition. Okay.
So where is it going to be the style?
It's everywhere else because it's
Everywhere
going to be
else? Okay.
international. So like I guess the just regular old like if you find it in Europe somewhere, it's going to be known as the Moto X Style. And
Well, that's so weird because like the event was in New York and yet they were talking about the European name basically the whole time. Strange.
yeah, they're on stage, everything, and it's just why the heck they could have made that a lot easier to understand, but it's just really, really, really odd, really dumb move.
So okay, so the Pure is going to be coming to the U.S. It's going to be unlocked for $399, and I think it's actually really cool because you just buy this model $399 from Motorola, no carrier websites or anything like that, and whatever SIM you put in it basically will work.
I hope that becomes the new standard. I really do.
I kind of want to write an editorial about this, like we should really support the crap out of this because this should be the way we do things going forward.
I remember there was an article yesterday about the Motorola CEO talking about how, or not the CEO, but the software engineer was talking about how he's happy that he'll be able to push out updates without having to worry about carriers.
Right. Absolutely no carrier involvement. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
really
how
cool.
it was with last year's Pure Edition. Was the exact same way. It was just like
right, but they also had the ones you could buy from carriers, so like normal people didn't really care about.
So are they saying that this isn't going to be available in carrier stores at all? Like it's not going to be?
I don't know. That's the confusing part about it because at first I thought the style was going to be the ones that would be at the carrier store, and then like the Pure Edition would be just like like you said last time. But I don't know. It's kind of confusing.
It's just super confusing, and I almost feel like because remember EVLeaks leaked some names. He dropped some like Motorola names, and there's apparently a Droid Max 2 coming out, which could be the Play maybe. I don't even Droid Max 2. So I mean like a Verizon is getting some kind of Motorola device, and they're gonna call it the Droid Max 2. So I mean we saw it last year. Last year they had the Droid Max, and then in the U.S., it was known as the Droid Turbo, so Verizon felt good by saying, "Oh, this is exclusive. You can only get the Droid Turbo at Verizon." You're like, "That's kind of true. The name, yeah, but the phone came out in like Brazil and Mexico as the Droid Max." So I don't know if they're playing that sort of card or what, but it's a little bit odd, confusing.
So regardless of name, talk about the specs a little bit. We got 5.7-inch display, so they made it bigger once again. I think every year it's gotten bigger.
That is kind of really big, though.
Yeah. It's smaller than the Nexus 6, but definitely bigger than last year's Moto X.
How big was last year's? Was like 5 inches, right? Just
it was
regular
5.2. 5.2.
Nice, solid. Nice. That's a whole half inch. That's huge. It's
and it does have really small bezel. Like the display size is not the whole story in terms of a phone size, but yeah, it is. It is much bigger.
I mean, my G3 has a small bezel. It's a 5.5-inch screen. It's still kind of too big.
Yeah. This is weird because that's to me anything above 5.5 is like a phablet, and this is 5.7, so it's not even a smartphone anymore. You're going into like Galaxy Note.
It's going to look really big next to the iPhone 6 and Galaxy S6 and stuff in stores.
I saw it like side by side with the Nexus 6, and it was almost as tall. I mean, it's like barely almost there. Yeah. So it's like I know it's not as wide. It's probably a lot skinnier, so it'd be easier to kind of move your thumb around and stuff and hit stuff. But it's large. It's really,
and that was kind of the. Even last year, I was disappointed that they made it bigger because you probably remember when the original Moto X came out, everyone was just like, "This is the perfect size for a phone. This is awesome." And then they made it bigger, and now they made it bigger again.
I mean, when is it going to stop? When can we stop the madness? That's what I'm.
It's going to be 3 years from now. I'm going to be like, oh,
7-inch phones,
7.5-inch screen.
I just don't get the thinking behind it. People were literally praising them for like having an awesomely sized phone, and what do they? Well, you know what? I think we should make it bigger.
They have to for some odd reason. Maybe it has something to do with like the 2K display. Like they don't make them in anything below like 5.5 or 5.7. I think I remember reading that somewhere. So like whoever's like manufacturing or supplying these displays, maybe that's like the smallest they could get. So they're like, all right, let's do it.
Was the Moto X 2014 was an AMOLED display, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
This year it's LCD, which I don't know. Some people like LCD, some people like AMOLED. I'm an AMOLED guy, so I'm a little disappointed about that.
I'm an LCD guy, and I think this is
Yeah,
great. It's
exactly.
actually the best news I've heard. I'm like, yeah, finally, IPS or whatever. It's great.
But I think the biggest probably things because last year the camera and the battery were not up to par with some of the other phones, and so this year they really improved the camera, or so they say. 21 megapixel camera, and battery got a lot bigger, 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So, oh, another cool thing about the camera, they have a front-facing flash.
Yeah.
Has that ever been on a phone before?
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen it. I don't think we've ever seen that yet. I think there was stuff rumored and whatnot. I mean, not from like a big name manufacturer, maybe some random Chinese OEM somewhere.
When I saw that, I kind of like double-taked. I was like, wait a minute, what? Flash on the front?
so crazy. But awesome. I think that's pretty cool. The chicks are going to love it.
What have you thought of the sample photos you've seen so far?
Really good, actually. It's up there. It's up there with like a Galaxy S6. I can't tell by the detail. I would have to like do some side-by-side shots, but it's pretty darn good. They're using a pretty nice sensor. I think it's a Sony IMX 230, IMX 230, and that's actually, it has a bigger sensor than like on the G4 or the Galaxy S6. So it's like it's actually a better sensor. So the results, although they don't match really, I mean I would say they probably do match the Galaxy S6, but it's just the fact that it has lack of OIS is kind of the downside, I guess, to it. But they really did improve the camera quality. It's awesome. It's going to be great that now that you can get a Moto X, you can get a G4, S6. All these phones pretty much match or beat the iPhone 6 as far as camera quality. Yeah. Just being able to shoot from the hip and stuff. So awesome. It's a wonderful time we live in.
It's got 3 gigabytes of RAM, and they opted for the Snapdragon 808, probably wisely.
They dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Let's just say that much. I mean, it's a lower number, so it probably like cost them a little bit less to buy in bulk, but at the same time they were like, oh, phew, good thing we didn't get that 810. Dang.
Yeah, I think it definitely was more of an avoiding the 810 rather than saving money.
I'm sure LG did the same thing with the G4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a win-win. Hey, we can avoid this overheating thing and maybe save a little bit on our processor, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the Moto X Pure style, whatever you want to say, I think it looks really nice, except for the size. Like, I like everything about it that I'm seeing.
I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to handle that size. Like, even the OnePlus was, 5.5 inches, and
yeah.
That feels... I mean, I have a Nexus 6, which I use, and I just know that it's big and stupid and clunky, but, like, feeling the OnePlus, it was just like, okay, this is also pretty large.
One thing I will say, and I think you've realized it too with just using the Nexus 6, and I certainly realized it by using the Nexus 6, is if you give pretty much any size phone a chance, you can get used to it. Yeah. You just have to be willing to give it that chance, and a lot of people, they'll see it in a store and they're not going to be willing to give it that chance.
Yeah, they'll think it's too large. I mean, the thing is like, I remember last year Motorola, the Moto G jumped to like, 5.5 or something last year, and they were going on, whatever. I think it was the Moto G, 5.2.
You just said 5.5. That would be the same size as...
Yeah, 5 point something, 5 inches, I think.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how they did all this like market research and all this other stuff and talked to all these different people about the perfect phone size and that this is kind of it right now. But it's dumb because you know that they're just kind of BSing that. It's like, okay, you say that you did all this research, then why is it going up every single year? I thought 5 was the sweet spot. I thought 5 inches was what everyone wanted. But
I wish they would focus on battery life like they do the size of the phone.
Yes, seriously, yes.
They did improve the battery life, so that's good. I was glad to see that. Yeah. Because the last year's model battery life was not so hot, so that's good.
3,000 milliamp. I think that'll do really well. Like that's a big enough upgrade from all these other previous generation phones that we have to where we can finally say, okay, our phones are getting better battery life now. Before it was kind of like our phones are getting better cameras, they're getting better displays. Battery life is kind of staying the same. Like the 1M9 gets the same battery life as the 1M8 and all those other phones. So 3000 I think is kind of like the new baseline. I'm hoping. I hope that.
Speaking of battery life, let's talk about the Moto X Play. This one kind of came out of nowhere because I think a lot of the leaked pics of this phone that we saw, we assumed was the Moto X Pure, but it was actually like this different device.
Or a Droid. I think that Hello Moto something HK said it was going to be a.
Oh, did we just lose Chris? Oh, there he is. That was weird.
That was weird.
So yeah, it looks a lot like the Moto X Style. It just has like a little bit of a different back, and it's a little smaller. It fits like right between the Moto X Pure and the Moto G. A little bit smaller, and the specs are a little bit worse. It's got let's see, the screen size is 5.5, so it's just slightly smaller, and it's only 1080p. And then the battery, like I mentioned, is huge. It's 3630 milliamp hours, so it's gonna do quite fine for you there.
Yeah.
But it has the same camera as the Moto X Pure, which is awesome. Only has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and the processor. Where's the processor? It's the 615, I think. Snapdragon 615.
600, yeah.
Yeah, 615. So it's not quite as powerful, but I don't know. It's kind of an interesting device. Obviously, it's like kind of the Galaxy S6 active type of device that has like really good waterproofing and stuff like that. It's interesting.
Looks cool. Looks snazzy. We're not getting it in the U.S. apparently.
Yeah.
I
don't remember what the price of it was either.
Yeah, I don't think they.
It's cheaper than the Pure.
We know that. Cheaper than the Pure, more expensive than the G.
Mm-hmm.
Right in between there. I don't even know if they even did announce the price, but I think once I heard it wasn't going to be available in the U.S., it kind of just dismissed the phone altogether. But
yeah, I mean, it's not the most interesting device, but it's there. So let's just move on to the Moto G, which is a really interesting device because it's actually Motorola's most popular phone, and they updated quite a bit on it. 13 megapixel camera actually has the same camera as the Nexus 6. Which is really nice because you have always said the Nexus 6 camera is really good. I love
the camera on the Nexus 6. Yeah, and
so having that camera on a device that costs less than $200, I mean, it's kind of insane.
It's freaking great. I mean, the Moto G, the camera was never like anything to write home about at all. It just looked like regular.
Pretty bad, actually.
Smartphone photos. I was actually really surprised that they did up that. Like the Moto G is a pretty solid phone. I mean, if you don't care about having like a full 1080p display, which I know a lot of people out there don't, my mom couldn't care less, but she wants to take a nice photo. I mean, that's awesome. Should pretty solid.
And definitely get the 16 gigabyte model this time because you can get 2 gigabytes of RAM.
So mad that they still have the 8 gigabyte. I'm so mad. Like I can't even.
Well, you know why they did it is so everyone can say, "Hey, here's the new Moto G. It's only $179." But the model you should actually buy is $219, which is still insanely cheap.
Yeah, don't even consider anything. I mean, that should be a post. Don't even bother.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. My mom has. My poor, rest her soul. I bought her the Moto G last year, and is the 8 gigabyte. We talked about it in the podcast like before, but she's hating life. I mean, she's got no room for anything to do, and it's just constant low memory warnings and all this stuff, and it's like.
It's almost like Motorola themselves is trying to tell people not to buy the 8 gigabyte because they're like, hey, if you get 16 gigabyte model, you get 2 gigabytes of RAM. The 8 gigabyte model only has 1 gigabyte. So it's like, hey, buy this. Version,
which is crazy. I mean, like, that's actually pretty nuts. I kind of wish we would have saw something like that with like the Play and the Moto X Pure and all that. Maybe something like a little bump in RAM if you get like some of the higher models. Maybe a little bump in battery as well. That would have been cool.
Yeah. The other cool thing about the Moto G is that it has that water repellent stuff from the Play too. So I think that is really kind of important on a device like this because You're buying it off contract. It's for like kind of the low end market where people don't want to be destroying their phones and having to buy another phone. So it's really cool to have it on the Moto G.
For sure. I'm surprised they didn't do it with the Moto X.
They had guys like throwing it in tanks of water and stuff. Like, so this is not just splash protection. It's just like legit underwater protection. It's pretty neat.
Go underwater with it.
Go swimming, man. All right, so that wraps up our events this week, I think. There was a lot of stuff to talk about from that.
It's really weird because, okay, so now they have the Moto X, right? They have the Moto X Play, just kind of like a mid. So the Moto G is their new low end, but then they still have the Moto E, which they just announced earlier this year. They have like
that one's on like a different release cycle too. It's strange.
On its own little thing. It's like, I mean, that's crazy. There's now they have 4 different models. The X Play and the X Style, I think, are kind of confusing things.
But I mean, honestly, if you look at like other OEMs, having 4 models is nothing really.
Yeah, for sure.
HTC doesn't have very many, but if you look at Samsung, I mean, jeez.
HTC has their one flagship, and they have all these desires. Like, you can't even keep track of the desires. Like, don't even.
That's true. They do have a crap ton of desires.
Don't even bother trying to. It's horrible.
All right, let's move on to some of our quicker news here. KFC has... What is it with fast food companies and tech things? KFC now has a bucket that can print photos.
It's the coolest thing.
What was it like? Taco Bell had the tray, or no, who had the tray? Someone had like a tray.
Pizza Hut had the projector.
Yeah, there you go.
KFC previously had a Bluetooth keyboard, which I think was like only in a Europe or Russian thing or something. The Bluetooth keyboard is actually pretty awesome.
Now they're getting buckets.
Now the buckets that print photos, the memories bucket. I mean, it's crazy. I like this a lot. I mean, because I remember seeing something about how like fast food chains and stuff, they're not getting too many. They're not growing as fast as they should be.
Nobody wants to eat 1,000 calories in a single meal.
Exactly. Like people, they've moved on. Meanwhile, Chipotle keeps like tripling and double. Like they're just on this like completely vertical incline, year and quarter after quarter. But so like these fast food restaurants are kind of just thinking of these new viral marketing things and trying to get people to come in some other way, but.
Hey, should we fix our food? Nah. Let's just like turn this bucket into a printer.
I mean, there's only so many ways you can make chicken, to be honest. So it's like Taco Bell, McDonald's. They can only change their menu so much. So it's like we gotta think of something else.
KFC has it double bad though. I mean, they're fried chicken.
Yeah, like when I think of unhealthy fast food, KFC is always like at the top of the list. Like that. Probably is the worst thing I could eat right now, but it's so good.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, like, you can go with like grilled chicken or some of the healthier options and stuff, but we steamed veggies. But then they have like the double down.
Yes, like, you know, 2 chicken patties as a bun.
I'm ashamed to admit I've eaten that.
That makes you feel just to hear that, like, yeah, like you want to get something. Yeah, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna double down on some food and just this giant meat.
Have you had it, Chris?
No, I haven't. I don't think I could finish it.
How have I had it and you haven't? I feel like that's something you would go order.
My girlfriend swore off KFC after she got sick like 2 times in a row. So, yeah, can't do it anymore.
Man, I ordered that like years ago when it came out, and it's like the saddest thing ever when you open it. It doesn't look anything like the picture. It's just 2 pieces of greasy chicken with like fatty pieces of bacon in between, and like gross melted cheese. It's like makes you want to vomit right when you unwrap it.
And then they put a sauce in. Like you don't need sauce in between all that stuff, and they put like some kind of creamy like sauce in there.
So tell me how this bucket works.
Basically, it's just some type of Bluetooth printer or something. Again, it's a promo. At the end of it, they're like, "Do you want it?" And then you're kind of like, "Yeah. When can I get this bucket?" And they didn't announce any details about any of that stuff. So I'm guessing it's going to be like the Bluetooth keyboard, where it'll probably just hit some random KFC location in like India or something. They're just going to have a few of them to give out or whatever. But more than anything, it's kind of just like a little marketing viral gimmick. Deal.
So take pictures while you're eating your greasy food, and then you get your greasy fingerprints all over the pictures, and
Bluetooth keyboard.
All right. So Sony, they are building a new custom UI for Android, and it's going to look more like vanilla Android, stock Android, as
So
they say.
vanilla.
I
And
like
I
how
mean,
all these OEMs are trying to get their skins in line with what OEM feels like.
Honestly, I hate it.
yeah,
I don't like it. And
You don't like
really,
it?
no, not at all.
Why?
Because I don't like. I mean, I like vanilla Android on like a Nexus device, but I think it's cool. But like, I think this is really bad for just everyone else involved because
conform, Chris, conform.
you
Get
have
in
it
line.
100
Everything
phones
looks the same.
with the same UI and the same everything. I mean, it's funny because you see all these fanboys like on Reddit and everywhere else in these forums and whatnot, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, now Sony's gonna make a big comeback," and it's like, what?
No, they
What?
won't.
Yeah, you think this is going to do it? This is people are gonna be like, I don't want that phone. It doesn't have vanilla Android on it. Like, no, my mom doesn't even know what the hell you're talking about. Like, it's just it's terrible. I think it's a terrible, terrible idea. The UI looks like everything else, and it's yeah, bad idea. Bad idea. I feel like they're losing their identity in all this. I think,
Their UI was already pretty
yeah,
stock.
exactly. Their UI didn't really. It kind of gave them its own little personality. It already looked very close to stock. It didn't look hideous. It didn't look ugly. It didn't go like overboard with anything. And it looked nice. I mean, it's performed nice. The performance was there. Everything was there, and they got out updates relatively quickly. So it's just like I don't see what the problem is. But I think some of these companies and stuff, they're kind of like their backs against the wall, and they're just like, we need to do something to kind of kindle the fire and get people's interest again. So let's do stock Android. People are always talking about they wish they had stock Android, right? And it's like, geez, no, stop. Just give me a bigger battery.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it because I like the look of stock Android, so I don't mind when other phones are using it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like I think of Windows, and like there are a million different companies making Windows computers and laptops and stuff like that, but the Windows actually looks all the same, and yet all these companies are able to exist. So I don't think it is like a horrible thing if all Android OEMs use the exact same like stock Android, because I think people would still have their preferences of like, oh, I still like Samsung phones or I still like HTC phones, even if they all look the same. But I don't know.
I mean, the big thing is Android is so customizable. Even if you
Yeah.
don't like what comes on your phone when you buy it, you can literally change it to be just about anything you want.
Yeah, the only thing you're pretty much stuck with is like the settings app. Pretty much like with everyone's big problem, or like the pull down, the notification pull down. Everything else you can change. You can get like a new dialer replacement. You can get a new camera app. You can get a new launcher. So you can change the look in just like a bunch of different ways. And with Sony's previous UI, they had a theming. They had a whole theme store, and like they had all these apps in the Google Play Store where you can theme the phone. It's like it's built into the phone. That was awesome about their UI. And I remember on my Xperia whatever Z3 Compact, I downloaded a stock like Lollipop theme like right when Android L first came out, and it made it look exactly like Android L because like they have a theme engine built into the phone. So I just think this going this route and just stripping everything away is bad news. And the funny thing is that the UI leaked. Someone that actually flashed this whole little test build or whatever. They posted pictures, and everybody in the comment. This is after all these people were like, "Yeah, this is gonna be great." They were just kind of like, "Well, yeah, that's kind of boring." Like, there's nothing you can say about it. There's nothing that makes it special. There's nothing that you're just like to get excited over because it's just stock Android. It's just so boring.
I don't think there's anything to get excited over about other skins anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
I never got excited about TouchWiz.
Yeah, that's something you never hear. Oh boy, I can't wait to see the new TouchWiz.
Yeah, I mean, I like the different looks of these phones. Maybe because I mean I own all 100 different phones anyway. But I mean I kind of like how each one has its own personality. And there's things I like about Sense, and there's things I liked about Sony's UI, and things maybe not LG's UI too much, but.
Man, I was just gonna say LG's UI is like my least hated. I've been using that on the G4 forever, and it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, to be honest, I haven't actually owned an LG phone where they have that new UI now, so it's definitely been a while. But
yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily care how these skins look. Just make it not laggy piece of crap.
Yes,
you know?
that's it. That's it. To me, that's the biggest benefit is that like, okay, maybe you can get updates out quicker, right? Yeah, okay, and maybe like just make it so the performance is there. It's not just laggy, hideous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So T-Mobile, their music freedom thing, I know we've talked about a lot. Basically, it's like they choose certain streaming music apps, and if you use those, the data they use in those apps doesn't count towards your plan. And I know we've talked a lot about how this is kind of like horrible for net neutrality type stuff. And a lot of people have said this about the T-Mobile music freedom because it creates an unfair advantage for smaller streaming services. And then like the big streaming services like Apple Music, which is the newest one, is now included in music freedom. So if you have an iPhone and you're streaming with Apple Music, you can basically just do all the streaming you want and none of it is going to affect your bill, which is nice. Don't get me wrong for people who do that, but I don't like the net neutrality aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this would go away after a while, but yeah, it's still.
I did too.
It's still running strong. They still got. I mean, they're adding Apple Music, which is cool, but I mean, they pretty much have all the big ones now, so it's kind of almost.
Yeah, they do have all the big ones.
They can just say like, "Hey, we just give you free music streaming." Like.
Yeah, but there are tons of other apps that do music streaming that they don't have. So.
Yeah. Again, that unfair advantage, which kind of sucks for them.
Oh my gosh. So remember we talked about those Amazon Dash buttons a long time ago?
Yeah.
Those silly things? They're actually for sale now. $5 a button.
Ridiculous thing.
I know.
I still can't think of a reason to own one, even at $5.
I think Joe was the one that was defending them back in the day. He thought they were actually kind of cool, but I
think they are cool.
I thought they were stupid, but now I'm kind of warming up to the idea. Now that I've moved out, I have my own apartment now, and it's like making a list of things I need when I run out is like almost impossible. I always forget something, and I always go to the store, and I come back like, dang it, I wish I freaking remembered that. But,
so you know what they have a button for now that is right up your alley, Chris? I didn't see this when they first showed it off, but they have a Kraft macaroni and cheese button now. Literally, like I need to post something on Twitter about it. Like, we are living in the future. You can buy a button that when you press it, you will get macaroni and cheese delivered to your house. I mean, how amazing is that?
It's going to be the first button that ends up breaking because I'm just going to be pressing it all the time.
Yeah.
Need more mac and cheese.
I mean, other than that, it's just like Tide, Bounty. There's a Gatorade button. It's kind of neat, I guess. Gillette button. Get some razor blades when you're out. It's.
Look, I have very specific taste when it comes to a lot of stuff. So like, I'm not really a Bounty guy. I do love Brawny.
Where is like the default blank button that you can wire to whatever you want to buy? I don't get it.
I want a nice default blank. Maybe have a button where you can customize it to call like the police. I could put it under my desk in case someone breaks in. Like under my nightstand, just the police come with their drones, Amazon drone helicopters.
Like if you're working as a bank teller, you want that like alert button under the desk.
Thanks, Amazon.
And that's actually, I remember that was like one of the things why I liked it, because I thought it was the potential of something like having your entire physical world have buttons. Maybe not physical buttons, because that would be kind of lame, but like in the future, we're gonna have touchscreens everywhere, and like to be able to just like, hey, you're in your kitchen, you're out of something, you don't gotta pull out your phone, there's a screen on your fridge, you just do
buttons
that.
are the wrong way because they're big and then they have like the branding on them. It says Tide on them and whatever. And I think it's just the wrong. I think they really should have just went with like NFC, and you could just tap your phone and it would just automatically like order something. But I guess people.
No one would care about that.
Yeah,
phones nowadays don't have NFC, Chris. Get on board.
No one's using NFC anymore.
I don't want to settle for a phone with NFC.
Jeez. Poor OnePlus.
Poor OnePlus. All right, so just a couple more things to get to. So YouTube finally got rid of Google Plus comments.
This is the awesomest news ever.
Hallelujah.
But and pretty much all integration with Google Plus.
I have not commented on a YouTube video since it went to Google Plus comments.
I hated it because I used to comment a lot, and I used to like videos a lot, but then I found out because one day I got a text message from my mom, and she sent me like a picture, and it was a video that I liked because she has her own Google account, which has her own Google Plus account, and I didn't know that every time I comment on a freaking YouTube video, it was showing up in her Google Plus feed. And I was
Comments do if you click the button, but you can turn off the likes from showing up on your profile.
yeah, I had to go and I turned the likes from showing up. I think if I comment, no matter what, if I leave a comment, not even share it to like my thing, or if I just leave a comment, it would show up on her feed on Google Plus, which I hated.
Huh. They shouldn't do that because like there was that little checkbox where you would check if you wanted it to show up on Google Plus.
Yeah, that's like almost like a share thing or something. But yeah, I don't know what was going on because I went and I even like went on her phone because I'm like, what? How much stuff is showing up on her news feed? So I picked up her phone and I looked, and you could see like stuff I was commenting on, stuff that I was liking, and I was like, this is really bad because I mean I don't want my mom seeing all the weird stuff I watch on YouTube. Terrible.
I don't know. I didn't hate the Google Plus system as much as some people did, but it wasn't the greatest for sure.
Yeah, I hated it, and I'm just wondering what it's going to do. I mean, I guess like if you already have it and you like it, I'm sure they'll probably keep it around, but it's not going to be by default, or they're going to completely scrap it no matter what. Because
I think the word. Sorry, go ahead.
I have like my YouTube channel is like the URL, whatever. Like when I first made it is Emo Gamer, which is completely stupid, and I actually liked the fact that I could change it to just my name, which was Chris Chavez, but that was because it was linked to Google Plus.
Yeah, a lot of people have done that.
I'm wondering what the heck is going to happen there.
I imagine you'll stay as Christopher Chavez because like a lot of people have done that.
Yeah, I hope so.
If they would reverse that all of a sudden, that would kind of be crazy.
Yeah, everyone would go back to their default stuff.
I've just like I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels with like quote YouTubers, and they talk about stuff like that, and it is I realize it's made a big pain for those people. Like you have to have a Google Plus account to create a channel and stuff like that, and like some of these people like don't care about Google Plus, don't even know Google Plus is. Like, what is this? Why am I being forced to create this account? I just want to make a YouTube channel. You know, stupid stuff like that. So I'm glad it's going to be gone.
Just anything on Google. It's ridiculous. And the first thing, as soon as this goes live, I mean, I haven't seen any difference or changes yet. That it's rolling out soon. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on my mom's phone. I'm going to hopefully let you delete the Google Plus app. I don't want her tracking me and stuff. So.
You can't even delete the Google Plus app?
It's like bundled. It comes with. It's like a stock Android app. Or stock, it's part of Google Play Services or whatever.
That's crazy. Like, I don't have anything against Google Plus, but I do have something against the way Google has forced it on a lot of people.
Everybody.
And
like, you want to use Google, you have a Google Plus account. It's stupid.
I'm really glad that they're backing off of that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that like Google Plus is dying, like a lot of people are going to say.
Everyone is posting Google Plus.
It just means that they're actually treating it like a social network should be treated, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Ashley, why don't you talk about this Ouya story quick?
So I'm sure you guys remember Ouya and the massive failure that it was.
Yes,
we've
bashed Ouya many a time on this podcast.
Razer actually announced that they bought Ouya this week, and the reason they did it was for their software and their storefront. They don't give a lick about any of the hardware, so.
Which their hardware sucks, by the way. Doesn't Razer make their own like Android TV type?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, Cortex or something. But they bought it for the storefront. But the problem with that is Ouya still owed indie devs a lot of money. Like I'm talking over $500,000 because they had this promotion. They were trying to get indie developers to come in and put games on their store, because if you don't have any games, why would you own an Ouya?
Right.
So they were saying that whatever you get on your Kickstarter for making this Ouya game, we will match that. And so they had all these people developing games for Ouya, and then nothing came of it because the Ouya was a failure. And when Razer was acquiring Ouya, they apparently did not know that they had over $500,000 in debt to all these indie devs. And so the news,
Surprise!
Someone didn't do their research.
yeah, the news got out, and all these indie devs were like, "Well, he owes me thousands of dollars. What's going to happen now? Are we not going to get paid?" Like, people were really upset. And the Razer CEO came out. He was like, "No, we'll take care of you guys. We acquired them. We'll take on their debts. We'll do this. We'll take care of everything." So I thought that was really nice of Razer. They didn't have to do that, but they did.
Damn.
That was pretty cool. This story really comes at a crazy time because over the weekend I saw an Ouya in real life.
Oh, you saw it, like, on a store shelf?
No, I went to one of my friend's wife's house, and they had an Ouya in their entertainment system. And I didn't say anything, but I was just like, what is that an Ouya? And I kept looking at it, and I was like, that is an Ouya.
Everyone I know who actually purchased an Ouya was, like, super sad that they did it. They're like, this is the worst $100 I've ever wasted.
Gosh, I just realized I still have mine in the box. It was like
in box, mint condition. Put that on Craigslist, man.
The Kickstarter edition. I don't even know where it is anymore. I think it's at my parents' house, like dusty old shelf.
Bury it in the ground so that, like, 100 years from now, someone will find it and be like, "Oh my gosh!"
It has this is the one that has like the engravings on the back, which had like Ouya boards on it, and all these other companies that invested a lot of money to put. Bad idea.
Yep. All right. So let's move on to our wins and fails of the week. And my win is going to be Windows 10, which just came out today.
I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about how great it is, and then I'm going to trash it when we get to my turn. I'm just letting you know.
Hey, you told me you haven't even installed it yet, so
No,
you're not allowed to trash it.
I have a reason, and you'll see. So.
Okay. Yeah, so I installed it this morning. It took, like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. It really didn't take that long at all. I was actually surprised.
I'm so mad right now.
I'm surprised it was there because, I talked about in the past, I had that weird icon that you couldn't get to go away about Windows 10, and I clicked that icon this morning, not expecting much, and it said, hey, it was ready, yada, yada, yada. So I installed it, and I like it a lot. And from my perspective, in the way I use Windows, there's actually not a lot of different stuff in it. It just kind of looks nicer, and the start menu is back, and it integrates like the tiles. So all the apps I had pinned are now in the start menu for easy access, and that is really handy. Cortana's there. I'm probably not going to use Cortana that much, but it's cool. But I just like everything is a lot cleaner. It's a lot more polished. That's really what Windows 8 needed. So I think it's a huge improvement. Just looks a little different. Like the windows look different and stuff like that. The settings is organized much better. It's just a lot better is the word I would use, I guess. It's just a lot better. But I'll let Ashley bash it.
So I had not gotten the update. I left my desktop on all night, and I think I was up at like 1:30 this morning, and I was like, oh, it's rolled out in my area. Let's see if I can get it on my laptop. No. So I started making a media creation thing with the ISOs that they posted, and it was in the process of downloading while we were doing the podcast, and I just clicked over to it, and it says, this is the error it gave me. Something happened, and then underneath that, something happened.
Yeah,
and
but you did.
Close button.
Didn't you do some weird hacky thing to get that notification?
No, that was on my laptop. I was downloading it.
Sir.
I was downloading it on my desktop because it's wired instead of wireless, so it would be faster. And I just have this generic something happened error. I don't know what's wrong. It doesn't tell me.
Well, there you have it, folks. Two very different opinions of Windows 10.
And when I click the little window in my taskbar, it's like, okay, notify me when ready. It's like, I'm ready now. When am I getting this update? But apparently
you have
not today.
Windows 8, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. Once you actually do get it installed, you'll like it.
I hope so.
You will. It's really not like that drastic of a change. I feel like it's the Windows 7 of Windows 8, if that makes any sense at all.
That's actually, it does make a lot of sense, especially coming from something like Windows Vista.
So
Mhm.
if we do have a Windows Vista computer, is it like free to upgrade or what's going on with that?
Mm,
It's
XP and
free.
Vista, no.
Yeah, I
Dang.
was
7
gonna
and
say
above,
Oh,
it's
so
yes.
free from 7 and
above.
8. Yeah.
I think my mom might have 7 on one of her computers. I gotta tell her to upgrade. I don't have a
You have a
single.
you have a year to reserve your copy, so no
Ooh.
rush.
Yeah, you don't got to do it right now. It's cool.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Uh, oh crap. I just realized that I put a win in my fail. So I guess I have 2 wins this week. So my win is going to be Android M Doze. This is that feature they were talking about that's supposed to be like standby or idle time, whatever you want to call it, much better. And I just by accident discovered that this is actually working extremely well. I have Android M on my Nexus 6, and I've just kind of been using my Nexus 6 as like a mini tablet at night because I like the dark AMOLED screen. And over the weekend, I was gone, left my Nexus 6 at home, and I just when I got home, I like picked it up, fully expected the battery to be dead because it had been like 3 nights without a charge, just sitting there. And lo and behold, it still had a charge after uh, three nights, basically 4 days of just sitting on my desk doing nothing.
Dang. How much of a
Yeah,
charge? Like, was
it
it
was
red?
like battery saver was on, but I mean, it went from zero, or it went from 100% charge when I left to zero, basically 0%. But it took 4 days
That's
to get that
awesome.
low.
Did you
And
check the
if
battery
you,
stats? I would like to see the little.
I did take a screenshot.
Oh.
I'll have to share that.
Is it just
Um,
perfectly like that, or does it like go like down and then all of a sudden it starts like going straight?
it's a very slow incline or decline, from
That's
what I remember. Yeah,
awesome.
it was very impressive.
Man,
So
makes
it
me want to
works.
flash Android M on my Nexus 6 now.
And I don't think the first preview of M worked quite as good as that, so they've
Yeah.
improved it a little bit.
I mean, you've been running it for a while now. How buggy has it been? Any weird issues or anything not working?
The one biggest issue I had is that Snapchat would not work at all.
Hmm.
But like everything else works fine. And like I said, I've been using it as a mini tablet, basically just for like reading and stuff, and I haven't ran into any problems.
Cool.
All right, what do you got, Chris?
Yeah, my wins and fails. What do I have? My win for the week is going to be Qualcomm WiPower. This is basically Qualcomm's. They've come up with their own wireless charging standard, and they call it WiPower. WiPower. I always call everything Wii when it's. I guess it's probably WiPower, but it is pretty darn awesome because normally with like Key and Power Matters Alliance stuff, it doesn't go through metal. I don't even know if any phones even use PMA. I think you said there's a couple of Nokias or something that did, but none of those go through metal. So that's why like your Galaxy S6 doesn't have a metal back because Key doesn't go through metal. It doesn't conduct very well. So you have to use glass or plastic when building your smartphone with wireless charging in mind. But Qualcomm's solution actually does go through metal, so this is like their next development, and it's so awesome. If you guys haven't seen the video on this, you have to look at it because their wireless charging pads, like you don't even have to perfectly place your phone on a coil or anything like that. It goes throughout this huge area. You can put your phone any direction, however you like, and it doesn't have to actually be directly touching the pad at all. So you could have phones stacked up on top of each other, just laying around all willy-nilly. You could have them upside down, like with the screen facing down, and it will still wirelessly charge. It's like
Wow.
it's the way wireless charging should be because as cool as wireless charging is and however cool it sounds, it's really not too convenient. It's really frustrating when you have to really. My Nexus 6, I have to have a bunch of different chargers, and I really have to like place it a specific
Yeah.
way. And then like you sit and you wait to see if the light goes on, and you're like, no. And you scoot it a little bit more and you wait. There we go, and then it finally kicks in. So like this is amazing, totally amazing. And now it goes through metal, so you could potentially have this on the next iPhone or HTC One M10 or something like that. So huge development, flipping amazing, and I really hope we see this, even though you have to like buy all new chargers because it's not.
Well, I guarantee we'll start seeing this. I mean, Qi is very much like a first generation pretty cool, but could be better type thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and Qualcomm's doing good stuff. They did the whole quick charging thing. We're starting to see that like more and more. That's kind of more based on like their chipsets, or their processors and stuff. So.
Wait a minute. Does this still use Qi?
No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't go.
Okay.
It's not backwards compatible with any of the other stuff. So you don't have Qi, you don't have PMA. So you're just gonna have to use whatever this WiPower certified devices and whatnot. So that's my win. I really, really hope we see this get adopted in the future because it's awesome.
Well, you know what we'll really have in the future is wireless charging in your entire home.
Dude,
doesn't have to touch anything.
This is that step. This is like so close. Because like in the demo too, the guy has like a light bulb that has like the WiPower thing, and he's holding it like a good, maybe like 6 inches above the thing, and it's still powering that light bulb. So it's like.
You know what's between that light bulb and the power pad?
What is it?
Cancer.
I would like to see them put like a mouse in between that and just let it sit on top of a mouse and see how long before it develops a brain tumor. But that's awesome because that means you could like kind of pick up your phone a little bit and just type something in and put it back down and it would still be charging the whole time. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, my fail for the week is going to be that there was no flippin' Moto 360 2015 announced yesterday at Motorola's big event. So now they have 4 smartphones, and probably one of the most successful devices they've ever launched was the Moto 360. It was the most successful Android Wear smartwatch, that's for darn sure, and they didn't announce a follow-up yet. So hopefully.
What gave you the illusion that they were going to do that?
I mean, last year they did. Last year.
I was at least hoping to see 2 versions of it, especially since they were unveiling all the phones. But
yeah, look, last year in Chicago they announced they like showed it off. They announced it at Google I/O, but it was at Chicago that you could play around with it. They announced all the leather bands and they gave you like all the full details on it, and then they gave them out to press and whatever. So I was really surprised that there was nothing, not even a hint, nothing. They did announce some new surround headphones and whatever, but no Moto 360. I thought that would have it, but it did pass through the FCC, so we know it's coming very, very soon. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but maybe there's going to be a separate event for it. Maybe they'll just mail it off to people, like they did with the Moto E and that little press kit that they did last time. But so that's going to be my fail. No Moto 360 2015 yet.
Cool. Ashley?
I'm going to give a win to OnePlus, and not for not for the phone or anything, just a feature that the OnePlus 2 has. It has a priority button on the side of it.
That is cool. We forgot to mention
yeah. What do they call it? Alert slider.
Yeah. Every time I get a new phone, I download an app called Shush, because when you hit down on your volume ringer, it lets you set a specific time period to where your phone will stop being on silent, because I always forget to set it back. But with the priority mode, it has 2 toggles, I guess 3 if you count completely off, but there's on, off, and then you can set priority contacts that will come through, like your mom or your dad or your cousin, brother, whatever. I think that's really neat. Something that you don't even need an app for now.
It's actually one of my favorite things about the iPhone, and I'm surprised they still include it all the time in the iPhone, is they have that little silent thing. You just flip the switch.
They never mention it. They never, like, no one ever even mentions it other than Apple even, and it's just always there.
And it's so convenient. It's wonderful. It's so great.
My fail for the week is HBO Now's app. It is the worst. Like, I'm not super familiar with HBO shows because I'm a bit of a cord cutter, so I don't really have, I haven't had TV for years now, but I was browsing through all of their shows, and I'm like, well, what are these shows? Like, is this a comedy? Is this a drama? A documentary? What is it? And there's no way to distinguish that when you're browsing their series. And I think that's kind of somewhat of a fail, especially when you have something like Netflix that just categorizes it all insane. So if you're in the mood for a comedy or something, you can just go and be like, Netflix, show me what you got.
Comedy.
And the HBO Go app for Android does have all those categories.
See, yeah, why would you have those categories in Go but not Now? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, is the Go? I think one of them is the one I've been using. So Go and Now are separate. Go is if you have like the subscription.
If you have a standard subscription to HBO.
And then now is if you just want only just a la carte.
Stream, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I get it. So yeah, the Go one of them didn't have a freaking search button, and that used to drive me crazy. I think it was Go then that I was using.
Yeah, now it does let you search, but it does not have categories, which is disappointing.
Yeah, how they messing that up? Jeez.
All right, so let's do some app picks, and mine is going to be a Android app called Weatherback. This is a wallpaper app, I guess live wallpaper, but it's cool because it does weather animations, but it will put it on whatever type of wallpaper you want. So, say I have some wallpaper that I really like. I choose that wallpaper, and if it's like raining or something, it'll put water droplets over the top of my wallpaper.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can use your own wallpaper and still get cool weather effects. It's really interesting. I gotta check and make sure if it's free or not. I don't remember. But yeah, it's just really neat to be able to use your own wallpaper, because I've tried live weather apps before that like do that, but you know, they have their own background and stuff like that. So it's cool to be able to use your own. There's a free edition and a $1.99 Pro edition. So check that out.
Weatherback weather wallpaper.
Yep.
Okay, checking it out right now.
All right, Chris, what do you got for an app pick? Or should we skip?
Probably gonna have to skip me because I.
All right, Ashley.
I have another game, of course. I always have games. It's called Lincoln. It's a puzzle game. And it seems really simple at first, like you're just connecting rows of shapes, but kind of like current flow, as you get deeper into the levels, you get more shapes that you have to connect, and then you start getting time limits. And it can really test your brain. There are 400 levels in this game. 400. It's crazy.
Cool. Would you like to join me in my Lincoln network?
Gosh, I hate those emails. Every day, it's like, oh, you still haven't accepted my friend invite.
Do you have an app yet?
I'm looking. I don't think I actually installed anything this week. That's really weird. Actually, you know what? I did. There's Puzzle Quest. I guess, well, there's a bunch of Puzzle Quests, but this one's Adventure Time Puzzle Quest, and it's basically just Puzzle Quest, but themed up with Adventure Time, which is like my favorite cartoon show on the entire planet.
I love Adventure Time.
Yes. So now there's a Puzzle Quest, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. I don't know why, but it's like RPGs. I mean, Puzzle Quest really surprised me because it's the whole match 3 thing. It's kind of like Bejeweled or whatever, but when you combine that with like an RPG or whatever, it just makes it so much more fun. So there was a Puzzle Quest Marvel, which I didn't really like too much. I think it was kind of dumb. It just didn't have that same magic. But Puzzle Quest Adventure Time has just, I think it came out last week or something. So it's brand new. I think it's worth checking out if you're into Adventure Time and you like match 3 puzzlers.
Cool. All right, we got a question this week, and I'll let you guys guess who this question is from.
Yay, Daquan!
You got it. He's a really good question this week. So he says, this past year has been a really tough year for the average consumer to buy a product with the release of so many premium devices. Parentheses, let's forget how bad iOS 8 and Lollipop sucked at first.
Yes.
What phone do you use as a daily driver, and what is your preferred desktop OS? We'll just go down the list here. We'll start with Ashley.
I use an LG G3, but I've been considering upgrading to a G4 since my roommate got his. A little bit jealous of that screen. You can really tell the difference when they're side by side.
Mm.
And as for desktop OS, I am Windows all the way, but that's mostly because I play PC games. So.
Yeah. Chris, how about you?
I'm using a Moto 6, Nexus 6. I'm using a Nexus 6 right now.
Moto 6.
My daily driver. I had a Galaxy S6 that I was using for a while, but then once I broke it, it's the Edge version. I kind of just retired it, threw it in my backpack, and haven't really looked at it since. But yeah, so right now it's the Nexus 6. I also always carry on my iPhone 6. I know, it sucks. But I use that for just like messaging. I can type, I don't know, something about that Apple keyboard. I can type like 50 words per minute on that thing. It's just absolutely insane. As far as desktop OS, I use a Mac, and everybody in our apartment has a Mac, so I haven't really used Windows since Windows 7, I think, so I've kind of missed this whole Windows 8 shenanigans. And
You should definitely see about playing around with Windows 10 then.
everybody missed Windows 9. What happened to Windows 9?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to try Windows 10, and I'm like considering maybe doing that whole dual booting thing on my Mac, so I can have like dual boot into both. But yeah, we'll see.
I am currently at one of those times where I don't know which phone I want to use.
Every week you're like talking about. Like,
I know.
We should switch that to you now. What phone is Joe using?
You really could, but it wouldn't be very fun because I'm always just switching between the phones that I own, which is like
daily.
I don't know, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I'm using the LG G4 right now because I still like the battery life over every other device I have.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, like compared to the Nexus 5, it's night and day. It's still a great phone.
What's the next phone you plan on upgrading to?
I'm really considering the Moto X Pure.
The Moto X.
I've never owned one of those Moto X phones. I've had the Nexus 6, which is kind of like one, but I've never had one of the Moto X phones that you can like customize and stuff, and I've always kind of wanted to do that. So
yeah, I wouldn't mind one with like the bamboo backs. Those are really pretty.
Yeah,
I like those.
I mean, you can get that on a OnePlus, you know, a OnePlus 2.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this the other day to you. I've realized that I've bashed OnePlus so much that if I would like switch to a OnePlus 2, I would never hear the end of it. I can't do it. I burned that bridge a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking that my next upgrade is probably going to be the OnePlus as soon as that comes out. If I can get an invite in a relatively quick time, I'll probably jump onto that. Unless a new Droid. I'm curious about this Droid Max 2 leak thing. That name that leaked. That's probably not till way later in the year. But yeah, OnePlus 2 I think is where I'm going to be upgrading to next.
In terms of desktop OS, I use Windows 10, like I just mentioned, and I don't just use it because I have to for games like Ashley. I actually do enjoy Windows a lot. It's gotten so much better over the years. Like I've used
I don't really
Vista.
I don't have any complaints about it.
I miss Windows. I have the weirdest problem on my Mac where I can't move anything from my dock. I can't drag anything out of the dock. I can't put new stuff in my dock. Like it's just it's frozen. Like
Chris, I just have to say, every time I talk to you about computers, you always have some crazy, strange problem going on with your Mac.
Like it's the weirdest software issue because for some reason it followed me from like my old Mac onto this one, and it's like it's a common problem. I looked in the Mac forums and stuff.
Every week before the podcast, we used an app called Audacity to record our audio. And Chris was like, "All right, let me go find Audacity."
Yeah,
I was just why are you losing it every week? I don't understand.
I really wish I could put it in my dock, but
it just has free roam of his desktop. Goes where it pleases.
Where that Audacity got off.
Free range Audacity.
it's always getting around, yeah.
All right, we are well over an hour, so I'm gonna wrap this thing up. You can send us questions like Taquan does every week, comments and all that with our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. We always love to hear from you guys. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and everywhere else. My personal favorite app to use is Pocket Cast. And you can follow us on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore. Ashley is at Overlord Roar. I am at Tall Schmo. And the show is at Mobile Roarcast. We will see you guys next week. Later.
Later.